a man make mistakes? Is he eligible for redemption? Will it really hurt your spirit to make this one exception? If I did you wrong, am I wrong for doing you wrong? If we get back on and make a promise to get along, would you take me back? My bad, I'm back. Would you take me back? My bad, I'm back.
Yo, what's good? It's the Big D from the Big D Show. You know how we do. We finna jump back in this thing and do some discussion here today. Feel good today. I don't know, yesterday I was feeling real tired and sluggish or whatever. I think Sunday I was kind of feeling the same way. But I feel good today. I'm energized. I'm ready to go. We're going to knock this out. We're going to get this all set up for the internet and for YouTube. And then we're going to get out of here and maybe grab some lunch or something like that. You know, stay hydrated. Got my water. So, you know, I told y'all before, keep me accountable. I got to drink my water, right? So, got to get this body in shape, stay young and beautiful. So, but what do we got today? Let's see what we got going on here today. I'm having a lot of fun with this already. I got a guy that I kind of been talking to. I actually responded to him. This is Sudden Money 4660. We had some conversation outside of like what he posted or whatever. I'm not going to show that on here or whatever, but I'll give you the gist of kind of what was being said and all that kind of stuff. But he says he's so embarrassed with himself, right? We're going to find out why, and then we're going to have some little discussion on this, right? So it says, it's been over a year since I got my divorce, and my ex and I went no contact till last night. I joined a friend's birthday dinner because it's been a while since I've seen my friend since the divorce. I was working on my career and personal hobbies. I feel now that I'm improving at my own pace, but at the party, I messed up big time. So he's a year out on the divorce, right? He's been no contact with her. No contact, I think, is, you know, really, when I start thinking of no contact, I think of like when you're dating and you want to get back with somebody, no contact actually does work. I'll tell you that for sure. I've done it. So, but he's been no contact. So what he's saying basically is, I ain't talked to this chick in a year, right? So, until last night when he messed up. So let's see what he messed up with. He says, my ex-wife was at the birthday party with a new guy. And it seems like she's been bringing him around for months because everyone knew him well. Mid-dinner, everyone was catching up on life, and my ex-wife was talking so positively about her new boyfriend. I learned that he works less than me, significantly, but makes a lot of money at his job. He is a hobby musician and apparently does a lot of volunteer work with animals, which is where they met. His life seemed so different from mine, but was truly everything my ex-wife wanted me to be. She picked well looking back. Said my ex had life changes too, but I didn't expect her to be living with her boyfriend when she refused to live with me before marriage. During the conversation, he was saying he was going to marry my ex one day too, right in front of me. I was drinking a bit too much. It brought up so many bad memories of how I begged her to stop belittling me and nagging me in front of others. Why didn't I deserve that praise or recognition? So I made a comment along the line saying for her boyfriend to watch it because she's sweet now, but just wait. Her boyfriend was about to say something, but she told him to ignore me. I bet you she did. Which pissed me off, but I just kept listening to her talk to people. So I'll tell you the rest of the story because I didn't screenshot it or whatever. But he was saying like basically her friends like kind of cornered him up or whatever, started talking to him or whatever. And he was kind of talking about his life a little bit. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing or whatever. And then and he said like one of them was kind of attractive or whatever. So he kind of like went into his thing or whatever, like went into his little swag or whatever. And hey, this is what's up. This is what I'm trying to do with my life. And this is what I'm doing or whatever now. And the lady was rude to him. She was like, oh, but you cheated on my friend or whatever. So she baited him in, acting like she was interested in what he's doing with his life or whatever. Like, oh, like, hey, what's going on with your life now? Whatever. Only to like stab the guy in the back when he opened his mouth and started telling her. So he feels like, he embarrassed himself or whatever. And he does admit that he was drinking a little bit. You know how it gets when the alcohol kind of gets in you or whatever. Maybe your faculties, everybody don't process alcohol very well. So maybe your faculties don't work so well. So if you're going in a situation like this or whatever, I say stay away from the alcohol if you think that it might impede the way that you handle yourself in this situation, especially with an ex there and a new guy there and all that stuff. That could be volatile. I'm going to drink some juice so I won't be on my P's and Q's. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to let this get out of hand. But it is what it is. He's kind of going through that situation. But he's kind of wow, he's kind of disappointed in himself because he kind of, just was a little bit embarrassed by the way that this girl spoke to him and the things that she said to him. He kind of said some stuff back. I think there was an exchange of words and all that kind of stuff or whatever. And it probably didn't look good on his end, as it would not, because she's got the whole world knowing that, this kind of, whatever went down happened or whatever. She's painted the picture, and now she's got Mr. Right and Mr. New and Mr. Make a lot of money, but he don't work a lot of hours. And my man be going and feeding the animals and stuff. And so that's where I met him. She going through all of that, right? So, she's all happy and she's all charged up about that or whatever. But like he said, like he tried to say to the ex, which I'm going to say that was confrontational in a place, especially when you're drinking or whatever, you probably don't want to have that conversation or whatever, like, just temper your words a little bit, and you don't even got to really respond. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, I was going down some path or whatever, I forgot what it is, but what I told him basically was, be gangster and a gentleman. That's who you are, gangster and a gentleman. Don't got to respond to everything. You be quiet. You observe more than you speak, right? Nobody needs to be able to read you. Told him, be unreadable. Gangster and a gentleman. It's always going to work because you'll begin to see what's really going on, right? I told him, like, dude sounds like, he's well put together. Sounds like he's got everything going on, but everybody has flaws, right? Everybody has something wrong with them. So you don't know what it is, and just because they give this image and this public persona does not mean that they don't have no flaws or they don't have something that they're hiding or some skeleton that they don't want people to see, right? So, he might be a great looking guy. He might be tall. He's charming to her or whatever. He's taking her out. He got her to live with him and all that stuff when she wouldn't live with you. Like, so how do we know really what this guy's really about? Maybe he's somebody who wants to get her drawn in, and eventually you won't see her around her friends no more. Because this dude's like that. They be sweet and all that stuff in the beginning, and everything looks the part or whatever like that, and then they try to take you away from your family and your friends, right? They try to take her away and separate and isolate her, right? Maybe he could be controlling, could have OCD, could be lots of things or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. He might smoke crack on the side. He might sniff a little cocaine or something. You don't know that. You know what I'm saying? So you can't look at one person and you met him for like, a couple of hours or whatever, y'all was around each other or whatever, and think, okay, he's Mr. Perfect. He might be hiding stuff you never knew. He might have debt up to his eyeballs. Maybe it feels good right now, whatever. Maybe he's got a nice car and a nice house and debt up to his eyeballs or whatever. You feel like he's making a lot of money, but what if that job goes away? Who is he when the job goes away? Is he saying there's still going to be the same sweet guy 6 months down the road, a year down the road, when it all sinks in and it doesn't feel too good to her, right? Is that who he's going to be? Is he going to be the same guy? He's great when things are going great. But who is he when things don't go great? You don't know that. So you ain't got to internalize that. You just sit back and observe, let it be what it is or whatever. Let her have her joy, and you go find you a chick. Find you somebody that will move in with you, who's willing to do that. You don't have to, but I'm saying who's willing to be around you, who wants to be with you. It doesn't sound like she was, it don't sound like she was interested in you from the beginning. You had something that she wanted. That's what it sounds like. You had something that she wanted. She was willing to go that far to get it. And, or you presented some type of image that she was trying to project to other people, and she was willing to go as far as get married and all that kind of stuff because you looked a certain way or you made her look a certain way. Right? So yeah, so I'm saying like you can't think that it's all you. Sometimes people have internal flaws and flaws in their thinking. Right? Some people have flaws in their thinking. So you can't believe that she's flawless and you're flawed. You know, so don't be embarrassed or whatever. Yeah, sometimes we stumble. Like I told him, I said, sometimes all of us, we all stumble, right? Sometimes things go down. Get this thing so people stop calling me. Sometimes we stumble, right? We may not act right in the moment or whatever. We might make a mistake in the moment or whatever, say something that we maybe shouldn't say or not handle the situation or not feel as confident or whatever. But, you know, going forward, just work on your confidence just on a daily basis and being who you are. Walk with a swag or whatever, a little swing in your step. Walk with your chest out a little bit. Like he said, you working on yourself, your personal hobbies and your career and all that kind of stuff. You're good enough for you. Don't worry about being good enough for somebody else. You're good enough for you. Walk with your swag, you who you are. And when you get in situations like these, you're not even worried about what somebody else thinks of you. I think right now you're just maybe not at the place where you want to be personally, you know, maybe financially or personally or whatever. You're not quite at the pinnacle of where you want to be at, but you're working to get there. So why should you feel any less than anybody else? Just because for a few hours you look at a person, you think they might be where they want to be, but who knows what his demons are. Don't worry about that. that ain't nothing that you even really got to be even concerned with, you know. So I just wanted to kind of cover that or whatever for sure. But let's get into this one right here. Expensive PEA, because that could get wild. 8993. She says, should I tell my ex-wife, or he says, should I tell my ex-wife's family the truth about why we separated? So let's get into this. When I read this one, I was like, oh, I got to put this on the show. So my wife left me for a coworker. She admitted she had developed feelings for him because he gave her attention, but she insisted that nothing emotional or physical happened between them yet. She said she didn't want to hurt me or cheat on me, which is why she decided to leave. Okay, I can see that, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I don't believe her, but yeah. And at the time, I was completely broken and in too much pain to think clearly. So for some reason, I told her that I wouldn't tell anyone what happened and that I wouldn't hurt her. I think I wanted to protect her and avoid making things worse. I think that's kind of cool because you still are kind of in the mode of husband mode where you're not going to just let your wife be out there, you know, getting killed by the public and public opinion. You know, you're going to try to maybe hide that for her, or, you know, you keep the secrets of your spouse or whatever. Remember, you become one when you get married, right? You become one when you get married. So you keep each other's secrets, right? So you're trying to keep the secret from her, for her. I get it. You didn't want her to get hurt. It's been 3 months since we separated, and I've started to accept the situation. But now I feel this growing urge to tell her family the truth. She told them bad things about me to make sure they wouldn't call me or try to convince her to stay. I understand why she did it. If they knew the truth, they might have cut ties with her completely. That's interesting. I know that telling them won't really change anything. It might give me some relief, but it could also bring unnecessary drama. She might retaliate by saying even worse things about me, which would hurt me more. On the other hand, if I don't tell them, I'm afraid I'll lose respect for myself in the future. I don't want to regret staying silent, but I also don't want her to hate me or feel like I'm trying to ruin her life. I want justice, but I also want to move on. All right, so we got a lot to unpack right here, right? She fell in love with the co-worker or whatever like that. He gave her attention. How much attention could he really give her? Y'all supposed to be working, right? You supposed to be at work. So he stopped by the desk or whatever like that and holler at her or smile at her or meet her at the little coffee station or whatever in the office or something, and they share a couple of words or whatever, and she kiki with him and all this. That's not attention. That's temporary. Right? And it feels good. You know why it feels good? Because you don't got to be with the person 24/7. You ain't got to be with them all day. You ain't got to think about what they need, what they might want to eat for dinner. You ain't got to think about whether or not they feel good or, if they're stressed at work or, if the grass got to get cut or if the garbage was taken out. You don't have all of that stuff to deal with. So yeah, she's going to feel like he's giving her attention and he's being there for her and all this kind of stuff or whatever. But I'm shocked that she just jumped out the window on just that, a little bit of attention. So I got to question like what kind of attention she was getting in the marriage, right? Not saying that you weren't giving her attention, but if you were giving her attention, was she just rejecting it, or what kind of happened there? It's telling me that there was a little bit of a deficit there that she was feeling. Not saying that is your fault or whatever like that. Maybe you were giving her attention. It's just not the kind of attention that she wanted. That's the other thing too. Sometimes it's not the attention that she wanted. I mean, you attentive to paying the bills and working and doing, and making sure that she has a decent life and caring about her feelings and not making her family, aware of her activities and stuff like that. So you can't be the worst dude in the world, right? You're thinking about her. You're making accommodations for her that you really shouldn't make at the expense of yourself. So I know that you was giving her some kind of attention. You probably was not the person that just was not attentive. But, if you were working a lot or something like that, I get it. Maybe you're just not there all the time. And she's at work and dudes are coming at her, I'm sure. Maybe she's cute. Maybe she's fine, whatever. And maybe dudes are just coming at her and she's just not built to handle that attention that's coming to her or whatever. She said nothing physical happened to them, but her saying that nothing emotional happened between them is crazy. So I know you saying this, but if she said it, she's wild crazy because yeah, something emotional happened. You just left your husband for somebody who gave you a little bit of attention and they ain't give you the other big D. How you leave him? You don't even know if he could put down. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you know what I'm saying? So it's not even like if this man is compatible with you sexually. So emotionally and in your mind and mentally, you left your husband for this man. So yes, you are emotionally attached. So yes, something emotional did happen between them. So I just cannot let that slide at all. Right? Remember the question I told you that my friend used to ask, do you have an emotional attachment to anyone? That's what we ask girls that we date. Right? That was his contribution to like our therapy sessions over barbecue. Do you have an emotional attachment to someone? She has an emotional attachment to this dude. She developed emotional attachment to him. And so she vacated her emotional attachment to her husband at some point. Maybe not right when she met him, but it sounds like she was checked out or whatever, and there was an opening for her to be emotionally attached to this dude. Even if they don't do nothing physical, still emotional. But for her to really jump out the window and be like, yo, I'm leaving or whatever, and you separate from your husband for this, she's attached. So, and I don't believe that the physical didn't happen either. Some happened physical, because how you don't even know if you can even kiss the dude. Come on, man. So she's saying she didn't want to hurt him or cheat on him, so that's why she decided to leave. Okay, that's well and good or whatever like that. She's trying to make herself look good. She's doing a crossover and, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Crossing them up a little bit so that she don't really look bad, But, he didn't think clearly, so she told him, oh, I don't want you to tell my parents what really happened. Don't tell people what really happened. Why? Because he got the skeletons in the light. I need to get like a skeleton in a light. I think we're going to be talking about this a lot. He got the skeletons in the light. So what'd she say? Oh, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody what really happened. But then what did she do? She went and said bad things about him. Told lies about this man. How you gonna lie on him and make him the bad guy when you doing the bull? That's crazy. That's crazy. And that's exactly why I would tell. Not that it's their business. Not that it's her family business or whatever. And I understand he's saying like they might cut ties with her completely or whatever like that. But that's what she bought. She bought it, but now she don't want it. She don't want what come with it. Right? That's crazy. And she's throwing you under the bus to kind of get what she want and not have to deal with the consequence. And telling people that you's the bad dude and telling them bad stuff about you. And you're worried that she might say worse stuff. Well, what did you do that was worse? That's what I'm trying to understand. Like, okay, so at some point in time, there's some of this got to be for real, right? So maybe some of the stuff she's saying is real. Maybe some stuff is embellished or whatever. But I got a question like, okay, do you really got something out there that she could tell that you might not want known? Because that's what it sounds like. So maybe we need to talk to her and find out what she got going on. Got her side of the story. But all I'm saying is that, I get it that, you don't want to lose your family. You don't want her to lose her family or whatever, but you cannot do these things at the expense of yourself. She does not care enough about you to not become emotionally attached to somebody at her job. And to leave you for that person. She didn't care nothing about you. Nothing. So how could she even ask you that favor? And then talk bad about you at the same time to those same people that she told you not to tell. And make you to be the bad person. That's manipulative. That's manipulation at its finest. It's dishonest. So is she a liar at her core? Sounds like it. She's willing to lie and cheat, but she's not willing to stand up and say, I'm a liar and I'm a cheater. I'd rather have somebody tell me exactly who they are. You showing me by your actions. You ain't got to say it out your mouth. I'm watching you do it. So why would I, you know what I'm saying? Why would I protect you? You don't care nothing about me. You put me in a position, you put me in a position where some dude could walk up to me in the grocery store and say something slick and crazy to me, and then I have an altercation because you out here trying to get attention from this dude. I may not even know who he is. You probably done showed him my picture and everything. So he could run up on me in public and I got a problem I didn't even know I was going to have. So how am I supposed to protect you? You didn't protect me. I always told my ex-wife this, listen, I'm not going to put you in a position where another chick can roll up on you in public and say something crazy to you. I'm never going to put you in that position. So if I'm going to do something with some other chick, I'm going to tell you up front that this is what I'm going to do before I do it so that you already know. And I never did. Because I knew I had to tell her first. I'm a man of my word. So, yeah, this crazy right here. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's crazy. Do not fall for the tricks, with these chicks or whatever like that. Make sure that it's known that your name is clear. I will go tell. If I'm him, I'm going to tell the family this is exactly what happened. Because then the family's going to have to be like, they're going to do one or two things. They're going to choose to ignore what you said and believe her. Or they're going to have to look at her sideways like, wait a minute, why you lie to us? And then where's the proof going to be, right? The proof is going to be there because eventually, if you're emotionally attached to this dude so much so that you would leave your husband, you're going to have to bring him around. So how you going to explain it? Oh, I met such and such. No, you met him while you was married to other dude, and you told me he was bad when you was the one who was out here conniving. You was the one out here freaking trying to deceive everybody. Does her family deserve to have that given to them that way? Her family don't deserve to have that. Man, let me move on. Let's get on from this one. All right, so we're going to go to Platypus 746. Platypus 746 says, the husband is not taking the divorce news well. He said, I don't want to live in a world where you're not my wife. That's deep, right? I don't want to live in a world where you're not my wife. For a man to say that to a woman, that's deep. Honestly, I don't want to live in a world where I am his wife. Now you with the bullshit. Anyway, but wow. Okay. It's been a miserable experience. He does not treat me well, emotionally and verbally abusive, volatile, etc. Honestly, it drove me to severe suicidal ideation last summer because I felt trapped. When I would complain, he would get defensive and make it seem like everything's my fault, I'm overreacting, etc. I feel so guilty. Now I feel like I have to worry about him offing himself and leaving his son without a father, his kid from a previous relationship. It definitely is a manipulative thing to say. However, he does suffer from depression. Help me not feel so guilty. I haven't even filed yet. I'm looking for a place and will be moving out next month. How do I keep my resolve and stay strong? Do I not deserve my own happiness and peace? I'm going to let Cool Login down here respond. He says, if he ever threatens suicide, call emergency services without delay. I will agree with that 100% because this is a very real thing. And the last thing you want is, that to happen. And you guys have, I think you said a son, right? It's just said his kid, right? His son, leaving his son. So a son losing his father that way is tough. And I don't know what it is, but I know of a situation where a guy that I met kind of briefly or whatever through a church situation or whatever, they had me kind of working with him on something, and within a few weeks he killed himself. And then I found out that his brother and his father killed themselves previously. So there's something about that where it's like once the father does it, there's an opportunity for the kids to kind of follow up on that. And these were not young people either. Father was older, but this cat was married. He had a wife or whatever. He probably was in that point close to 40. So this stayed with him a long time. His depression just stayed with him for the whole marriage with the wife or whatever. She said he was depressed the whole time. And a lot of it had to do with his father killing himself, and eventually he killed himself. So I agree with Cool Login here. Says either he means it and he needs their help, or he doesn't mean it, and his attempt to manipulate you will cost him in some sort of way. So this is not something to play with. When it starts to coming down to a life being taken or something happening that you don't want to happen, get the authorities involved or whatever. Get somebody that maybe can help him, even if you don't want it. Do your best to do that, for the kid's sake, at anything. I know you don't want to be his wife. You saying that you don't want to be in his life. It's been a miserable experience. I kind of would like, when I read that, I was like, you know what? It's always like that. It feels like maybe there's someone else involved or something else involved or whatever. But in this situation, I'm going to think about it a little bit different, or I'm going to go in a little different direction. You guys can get in the comments and kind of go your direction with it. But I'm going to go a little bit different direction with this. Because of the depression that's involved. Sounds like both of them have a level of depression. Both of them are not stable mentally or in a healthy place, at least I can say mentally. They're feeling some stresses and things like that. That the average person is going to succumb to a little bit. So they're feeling pressures, but it's pushing them further out there. So I can see why the relationship is not working. Because when you're in a state where you're not good with yourself, you're not going to be good with others around you. If I don't feel good, I can't feel good for somebody else. How? I don't feel good internally. And maybe they're carrying guilt. Maybe they're carrying substance abuse. Maybe they're carrying the weight of something that happened in the past. Maybe they're carrying the weight of their childhood or some traumas and things like that. So, both of them have talked about suicide. She's saying that he drove her to it, but I think that's just within her. I don't think it's just him, because if you're not in that situation or whatever, you probably don't even think about it. That'd be like the last thing that you think about, even if you got problems. But when you're prone to that in some sort of way. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you, how people come up to the point where they are suicidal or whatever. But I know that there's some kind of depression or something going on, something traumatic that's in their life at some point in time that makes them think life is not worth living. Or maybe it's the stresses of just living life, trying to pay bills, trying to keep a kid, happy and keep a roof over their head and feed them and clothe them and all that kind of stuff and pay the car insurance and with everything, all the prices going up and all that stuff. It ain't easy, man. So I feel like the relationship, they are not going to do great together, not in the state that they're in. They're going to need a lot of help mentally, therapy wise or whatever. They need a lot of straightening out of how they process information, how they process challenges. They're going to need a lot of help with that. So divorcing is probably not going to go well. She says the husband's not taking it well. How well was he going to be able to take it? You know what kind of person he is already. You know what he's suffering with. And he may survive the divorce. Let's hope that at the worst. Let's hope you survive the divorce too. But neither one of you are fit to be free for someone else and finding someone else. Because what do people tend to do? They kind of jump out of one relationship and jump into another one. Right? They tend to just jump out of one and jump right into another one, and they take that baggage with them into the next relationship without fixing any of it or, working on any of it, not even really recognizing what it is maybe. Because like you said, when you would complain, he'd get defensive and he's like, oh, everything's your fault. You're overreacting. So he's not dealing with it, with his issues. He don't know what his issues are. He don't think he has any issues. So he hasn't started working on them. And you're not working on your issues either. We're hearing all about what he's doing, but I'm getting from this that you got issues too. And so that union is never going to work because both of you are acting out on whatever traumas are, preventing you from having a healthy, thought process for things. So you can't expect him to take this divorce news well. A sane person who's got no real issues or whatever like that is going to be driven just a little bit batty by someone saying, hey, I know I told you that I wanted to stay with you for life, but now this thing is at an end. That's going to be hard for anybody. So somebody who's going through depression and got some issues or whatever, adding that extra weight to them and making them feel like nobody wants them or the person that they wanted the most doesn't want them, that's more weight to be added to that. That's a lot of weight to be added to somebody who's already not in a good place. So, we're going to leave it at this, because I think this is a serious note or whatever. We've been going on about 30 some odd minutes here. So I'm going to leave it at this. Get some help if you're ever in that situation. Anybody who's been in that situation, if you kind of come through it and you're in a better place, talk about it in the comments, write in the comments. Maybe somebody's going to read that and that could be something that saves their life. I'm going to leave it at that. Boy, the Big D. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Divorce News Daily. You know how we do, how we get down. Thanks for checking us out. Peace.
Can a man make mistakes? Is he eligible for redemption? Will it really hurt your spirit to make this one exception? If I did you wrong, am I wrong for doing you wrong? If we get back on and make a promise to get along, would you take me back? My bad. I'm back. Would you take me back? My bad. I'm back.